Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Let's seek the truth and travel the long road to justice together. What you know, Alibiers, welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. Hope you're having a good Friday. It's November 22nd. We're going to catch up in the Brad Simpson case. As you guys know, he is now accused in the murder of his wife, Suzanne Simpson. She was last seen October 6th having a verbal and physical altercation with Brad outside their home. Later, the neighbor heard the screams and did not call 911. If you see something, say something, everybody. It could be the difference between life and death for sure. I've broken this affidavit apart a bit and tried to put everything in chronological order just so it flows better. Let's jump in. Back before Suzanne was last seen, on September 17th of this year, Brad sent a text message to a woman whose name is Elizabeth. That text says, "I still feel bad about tonight. I never should have grabbed her phone and drove off, but she was so protective of it. My dumbass didn't know her passcode, so I got locked out and had to bring it back. I really have no interest in looking through her phone or anybody else's. Those devices are the devil." When this woman was interviewed on October 30th, the woman told a Texas Ranger that Suzanne knew Brad would track her location and he was extremely jealous. Moving forward to October 6th, a woman named Heather, who was deemed to be credible and reliable, told a Texas Ranger that she saw Brad and Suzanne in a verbal altercation while at a party at the Argyle the night of her disappearance. Suzanne and her 5-year-old daughter left that party around 8:30 p.m. and went to the H-E-B, that's a grocery store, and they were seen on surveillance in that store from 8:40 p.m. to 8:51. They arrived home shortly after. Suzanne's phone records show for October 6th, the night she went missing, at 9:15 p.m., Suzanne calls a family friend to say she was coming over. 1 minute later, at 9:16 p.m., Suzanne called her mom to report Brad had just assaulted her, causing pain to her arm, back, and neck. The duration of the call was from 9:16 to 9:24 p.m. AT&T records show her phone was suspended at the same time she made that call to her mom at 9:16. They found Brad had accessed the app at the same time that line was suspended, which contradicts Brad's statement to police that Suzanne lost her phone. At 9:25 p.m., Suzanne is seen arriving at the family friend's home. Suzanne and Brad's daughter, who is 20, said while reviewing her Find My application, which shares time and location of connected devices, showed the last location of Suzanne's iPhone was at home the night she went missing at 10:22 p.m. In this affidavit, they included the interview with the neighbor who saw Brad and Suzanne, who were arguing very loudly after 10 p.m. in the front yard of his residence. He saw them physically struggle, and Suzanne broke free from Brad's grasp and ran west. He saw Brad run after her, and he was trying to grab her. The neighbor said he lost sight of them as they left his yard. The neighbor said he went inside to get a flashlight, and when he came back outside, he heard screams from a wooded area across from his home. An hour later, Brad's truck started up and left. About an hour later, Brad's truck returned back home. Location data showed Brad was driving his GMC truck in the same time frame that Suzanne went missing. Investigators in Texas and also with the FBI saw Brad's phone engage in a series of on and off cycles, including a complete shutdown beginning at 11:09 p.m. and continuing into the 7th. For October 7th, 12:33 a.m., Brad's truck is seen on surveillance footage at the H-E-B with a large ice chest in the bed of the truck. 11:53 a.m., surveillance from their youngest child's school showed Brad on surveillance dropping the child off, and in the bed of his truck was at least 2 white trash bags with red strings, and also that ice chest was still in there. At 9:12 a.m., Brad's truck is seen on the drive-through camera at the Whataburger in Kendall, Texas. In the bed of the truck, they see 3 white trash bags, a large gray heavy-duty trash can, an ice chest, a large, bulky item that was wrapped and secured in a blue tarp, with the tarp being secured by a strap or rope. There was a silver metal firewood rack on top of the blue tarp to conceal and weigh down the bulky item. Investigators note in the affidavit this is a common way to conceal and transport victims to avoid detection by law enforcement. At 9:53 a.m. on the 7th, his cell phone data shows him at or near a Home Depot in Kendall, Texas. On surveillance, he is seen buying 2 bags of Quickcrete cement, an orange Home Depot construction bucket with a lid, a box of 32-count heavy-duty trash bags, one 30-ounce bottle of Clorox spray, and insect repellent. He paid cash for those items, and the receipt for that was later seen by the detective. In the parking lot of Home Depot, Brad is seen talking to a man that police later found. The man said Brad randomly came up to him asking for directions to the nearest dump. The man gave Brad directions to the Kendall County solid waste site. At this time, Brad intentionally shuts his cell phone down into lockdown mode. I looked this up, and lockdown mode conceals notifications and it restricts entry to the device's interface. A lot of times people use this if they think that their phone is being hacked, and according to the affidavit, it's something that's rarely used. At 10:07 a.m., Brad's truck is seen on a license plate reader after leaving Home Depot. In the bed of the truck, they see the same items that were seen in that Whataburger video, but just from a different vantage point. The box of trash bags that he purchased at the Home Depot were in the bed of the truck as well. They don't tell a time frame for this, but location data from Brad's truck showed him near the Kendall County solid waste site in Kendall County, Texas. Other cameras in the area show him driving away from the dump. At 11:15 a.m., Brad's truck is seen at a gas station in Kendall County, Texas. He bought 2 one-gallon jugs of water and paid for that with cash. Surveillance shows the trash bags are now missing from the bed of his truck. The blue tarp and the firewood rack are still there. Surveillance video also shows that he had changed his shoes from black men's sandals to dark-colored cowboy boots. On surveillance, the truck was next seen heading westbound from Bernie into Bandera County. The blue tarp and the fire rack still in the truck bed at this point. Location data showed Brad's traveling westbound through Bandera County into Medina. His phone was turned off, but surveillance showed him in Medina. He was in Medina for about 13 minutes and was next seen traveling eastbound back into Kendall County. At 1:41 p.m., he's entering the Bernie, Kendall County, Texas area. That blue tarp, by the way, no longer seen in the bed of his truck, and the firewood rack was repositioned. At 3:27, he picks up his daughter from school. The tarp and the firewood rack was gone. They did see that ice chest as well as that large gray heavy-duty trash can in the bed of his truck. 4:07 p.m., he's seen on surveillance at the Bubble Bath Car Wash. He was a member there. That's on San Pedro Avenue in Bexar County, Texas. He washed and cleaned the driver's front side and rear left passenger compartment. Photographs of the truck after the search warrant was executed showed dried cement splashes in the rear passenger compartment, including in the truck bed. They also found during the search warrant that 30-ounce Clorox spray bottle in the rear passenger compartment. In the bed of the truck, the only thing there was the ice chest. The same day, on the 7th, friends of Suzanne's meet up to discuss her disappearance. A friend of Suzanne's called Brad with her concerns about Suzanne being missing. Brad had not called the police or 911 at this point, so the friend told Brad she was going to call, and she did on October 7th at 9:57 p.m. to report Suzanne missing. Brad called at 10:11 p.m. and left a voicemail for the police chief after the friend called to report Suzanne missing. When Brad was called back, he said he had not seen Suzanne since October 6th at 11 p.m. October 8th, Brad texts James Cotter, "If you're in Bandera, can you haul ass and meet me at your house? I don't have much time. Cotter texts back and says he'll be there in 40 minutes. Brad says, okay. Make sure and leave all the crap into the pump house, especially the gun. At 8:14 p.m., Cotter texts Brad, get over here. I won't tell anyone you are my brother. The same day, on the 7th, a Bandera County Sheriff's Office deputy makes contact with Brad at a second property that's owned by the Simpsons. I believe it's owned by his dad, and Brad was standing by a fire that was burning. On October 8th, the detective writing the affidavit spoke to 2 other officers. One of those officers relayed the information they received from a friend of Suzanne's. They had talked with this friend throughout the night to gather information for their report. Another officer had talked to the school counselor at Suzanne and Brad's youngest child's school and said the child told them that Brad pushed her mother against a wall, hit her on the face, and hurt mom's elbow inside their residence. The child also said Brad turned off Suzanne's phone because they were fighting. After reviewing body cam footage from the initial visit to the Simpson residence, the detective saw Brad say that Suzanne lost her phone while out that night before coming home. That night, Texas Ranger Perez obtained an arrest warrant for Brad. And the next day, October the 9th, Brad was arrested. Once he was in custody, they saw numerous cuts and bruises on his hands and arms. He said, again, Suzanne lost her phone at the HEB on Sunday, which would have been the 6th, the day she went missing. Brad was said to be unconcerned about his missing wife and showed little to no emotion. He did invoke his right to counsel after being questioned about the physical altercation that was witnessed by the neighbor the night she went missing. The same day of his arrest, a search warrant is executed at their residence. They saw an indentation on the wall at the bottom of the stairway in the home. They spoke to Brad and Suzanne's daughter and learned the damage was new and not there when she had previously visited home. They also interviewed their housekeeper who worked in the home on the 7th, the day after Suzanne went missing. She described the trash bags used in the home as white with red handles, just like the ones seen in Brad's truck. Trash pickup would have been 2 days earlier, and that would have been October 7th, the Monday, the day after she went missing. That afternoon, they also executed a search warrant at a property on Highland Drive in Bandera County. Texas Rangers located a ground-level burn site with a burnt laptop and 3 cell phones. Those devices belonged to Brad. October 10th, they interview James Cotter at his home. During the search warrants on Brad's truck, they did get a presumptive positive for blood, which lab tests later proved the blood to be Brad's. The search warrants on Brad and Suzanne's cell phone revealed 2 notes. One was titled The Next to Life and the other Last Will and Testament. These notes were apologizing for assaulting Suzanne in August of 2023 and again the night she went missing. The notes were created on October 8th, 2 days after she went missing. October 23rd, Texas Ranger Perez interviewed a bank employee who was Suzanne's personal banker. She said in August of this year, Suzanne made an outcry of being physically abused by Brad and said that he would commonly take her cell phone away and he would tell their kids she lost her phone. Suzanne told the woman if she ever went missing to look for her in a lake. That same day, they execute another search warrant at Brad and Suzanne's residence. They locate 1 bag of Quikrete cement. They also found the box of heavy-duty black trash bags that originally came with 32, those same ones he bought at Home Depot, but when they found the box, there were only 28 in there. They also found the gray heavy-duty trash can as well as that firewood rack. They note Brad had been in custody since the 9th. I don't know if they're insinuating these things were put there after his arrest or what, but they didn't say. They end the affidavit by saying there are no signs of Suzanne Simpson being alive since the defendant physically assaulted her on October 6th. This has been verified by Suzanne Simpson's cell phone records, financial records, family, friends, and coworkers. There have been no credible tips or information that were obtained from the active Texas Clear Alert, and law enforcement has been unable to locate Suzanne after a large amount of search efforts. All family, friends, and coworkers agree the victim would never willingly abandon her children. And they say that they believe Brad caused Suzanne's death on or about Sunday, October 6th. Next up for Brad is a hearing that's scheduled for December 9th. His defense team is asking the state to provide sufficient evidence supporting a finding of probable cause that Brad committed the offense of murder. And if they don't, his defense team is asking the charges be dismissed and release him. Good luck with that. I've been covering Lake and Riley's trial this week, and when I'm covering a trial, there's just not much time to do other cases. So Monday, we've got a lot to update, including Lori Vallow, Diddy, Brian Koberger, and more. I'm going to take the weekend and enjoy some family time. Hope you guys have a good one, and we will see you soon.